All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kesley, and I will be your Cricut instructor today. I am so happy to be here and very excited that you are taking the class with me. If you have questions, feel free to place them in the chat. We have Lindsay and Carly who are on the backside trying to answer those questions and giving you all the tips and links or anything that you need back there. So we'll start the class off with some slides, and this will give you an overview of Design Space, and it allows me to better highlight different features in Design Space. And then we'll transition live into Design Space where we will make a project. And if you're able to craft along with me, I invite you to do that, and then we'll send it to the machine and actually finish the project. And just as a reminder, this class is being recorded. It will be available within 24 to 48 hours on the Michaels website. So if you feel like you missed something or you want to review it again, that option is available for you. I do try and go slow, but I know we're all at a different pace, and it is always there for you to go back and play it and pause it and start it. So I hope you take advantage of that, and very excited to see you all here. I appreciate those of you that have your cameras on. It kind of helps me get an idea for if you're following along with me or if you're totally lost. So thank you, and let's get started. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and we'll just dive right into our PowerPoint, and we'll get that started. Oh, there we go. All right. So let's get this slideshow and from the beginning. All right. So getting started with Cricut, Cricut 101. So I'm assuming most of you already have a machine, but if you don't, let me introduce you to the family of Cricut machines. On the left here, we have Cricut Joy. This is our smallest machine. It cuts up to 6 inches, and it's a cubby sized cutting machine. It's highly portable, and it was our first machine to use smart material. Next in the family are the Cricut Explore Air machines. The Air means that they connect to your desktop or device with Bluetooth. And this is probably our most popular machine. It's extremely versatile, and it will meet most of your crafting needs. We added the third set of machines, the Cricut Makers. These machines have like double the power. With more power, they can cut more materials. So to give you an idea, the Cricut Joy can cut over 50 materials. Cricut Explore Air can cut over 100 materials, and the Cricut Maker can cut over 300 materials. So that's the family. Welcome aboard. If you want to learn more about the different machines or anything you're having trouble with or questions on, check out learn.cricut.com. So Design Space. Design Space is the back end or the brain behind your cutting machine. You need to use Design Space to create designs and send the designs to your cutting machine. Design Space will work on a variety of platforms, from a desktop and a laptop to a tablet, and for super mobility to your phone. They all work with a Design Space app that you can download and customize. To get started with Design Space, you need to have a Cricut ID. You only need one Cricut ID for all the different platforms and for all the different machines. So once you have your machine, you want to go ahead and sign up with a Cricut ID. Using the Cricut ID, you'll also have the option to sign up for Cricut Access. Cricut Access is a monthly paid subscription that allows you access, hence the name, to all of the fonts that are available in Cricut. We have over 500 fonts to the images that are available in Design Space. There's over 100,000 images, and new images are being added practically every day. It also gives you the Cricut Access. You can use it in Design Space across the different platforms as well. So you only need one Cricut Access and one Cricut ID. Today, I'll be working on my desktop. So what I show you and what I do will be on my desktop. But some of you may be working on a tablet or a phone device. So Design Space layout will look a little different. If you're on Design Space on a tablet, all of your key items and icons are on the bottom. So you have the design panel, which is located on the bottom, the action panel, which is located on the bottom middle, and the layers panel, which is located also on the bottom middle. As we go through, I'll try and remind you where to find these different features. If you're on a phone, the icons are all on the bottom, all together. You can just scroll back and forth between the different sets. So let's dive into the home page. I'll be working again on a desktop. So when you open up Design Space, you go to the home page, and the home page is broken down into different sections. On the top section is called the header bar. This is this gray panel right here. I've highlighted all of my sections with a green highlight to sort of set them apart. So you won't have the green on yours, but you will have the gray header bar. In the gray header bar on the left-hand side are the pancake or the hamburger icon, and this takes you to your profile. Now, if you've just gotten your machine, this is where you go to set up your machine right here. And this is also where you would go to set up Cricut Access or go to other settings for your Design Space canvas. You can toggle back and forth between the home and the canvas using the pancake or hamburger icon. Below the header bar is the carousel. Now I call it carousel because it moves and it rotates. So it works like slides come in and out, and almost every time you look at it, something different will be on the carousel. So it will show promotional items, it will show machine tips and tricks, and new fun techniques that you can do or projects you can make. Below the carousel is where you will find your projects. So if you've made a project, you can save your project for referring to later. If someone's like, oh my goodness, I love your t-shirt, will you make me one? If you've saved your project, you can pull that back up, modify it if you need to, and then print it. You don't have to recreate it. Below the My Projects are the top playlists. These are great video playlists, especially for beginners. They're bite-sized, so it hones in on one particular item. For example, weeding. What is weeding and how to weed is one of the videos in the playlist. And then below that section is the community section of projects. And this is a curated list from the community, from people just like you or me using your Cricut machine to design something. And then below that will be projects from Cricut. All right, that's your home screen. And when you're ready to make a project, you just click on this green button in the upper right corner that says New Project. And that takes you to the Design Space canvas. You'll notice at the top here, we have our header bar. And the header bar, again, has that pancake on the left side that takes you to your profile. And you can toggle back and forth between the home screen and the canvas. This is also where you go to save a project, to select which machine you're using, and when you're ready to make your project, your Make It button. The header bar will always be at the top of your canvas, no matter what. Now, as we're going through the design space canvas layout, I sort of want to get in your mind a clock, or working around the canvas. Maybe you think in baseball terms, so think of the baseball basis as we go through it. On the left side here is the design panel, and I think of this as where we start designing. So if you're on an iPad or a phone, again, design elements are down in the bottom left corner or completely along the bottom. If you are on a tablet, you won't have templates or projects. Projects we talked about, you can access all of the projects from the home screen. And templates is something unique to your desktop. Basically, a template is an item and a design that you bring onto your canvas that maybe say is the size of a t-shirt. So if you're trying to size your artwork to fit on a t-shirt, you can bring in a medium t-shirt and see how big your design needs to go to fit onto the t-shirt. So it eliminates some of the guesswork. Also on the design panel are the images. Now, when you click on the images icon, it takes you into Cricut Access and all of the different images that are available there. So one of the first things you might bring onto your canvas is an image. You might want to add text to your canvas. So when you click on the text icon, the text box comes up and you type your text in the box, and the text edit bar comes up as well. And this is where you would edit the text that you've added to your canvas. Below the text are shapes. Shapes you can add to your canvas. Simple shapes like squares and circles and hearts come onto your canvas, and the edit bar shows up underneath the header right here. So when you add a shape or an image to your canvas, this edit bar will show up and be available for you to edit your shape or your image on your canvas. So at 9 o'clock, we have your input, what you're adding to your canvas. You're inputting items to your canvas, from adding an image, a text box, a shape, or if you want to upload your own artwork you've created somewhere else or you have from a different source. This is where you go to add items to your canvas. So the first step is adding items to your canvas and then editing those items you've put on your canvas. Every time you add to your canvas, the layers start to show up. So as we're working our way around the canvas, you have at 9 o'clock, you have all your design elements on your desktop that you're putting in. And then you have your edit bar, and then you have your layers panel. Now, again, if you're on a mobile device, they're going to be in a little bit different place. So look along the bottom for your design panel items, the edit bar, and the layers bar. So you click on the layers icon, and as you add layers, they stack on top of each other. So I always think of this like making the 7-layer dip. So your bottom layer, which right here in this example would be my square, and that's the refried bean layer. And then as you add layers to that, they stack on top of each other. So the circle or your last layer will be on top. So this would be your cheese. Now, also on your layers panel are some more action items. These are, if you're on your tablet, these are in the bottom center. The action items are actions you can do to your different layers. So you have slice, weld, attach, flatten, and contour are all your action items. We do have a 201 class, and we go into a lot more detail on the action items in the 201 class. In this class, we won't go so much into that. But when you're ready once you've learned your way around your canvas, you can add images, you can add text, and you can add shapes, and you're ready to do the next things, then you'll want to take our 201 class and start working on the slice and weld. The last item on your desktop is the zoom icon here on the bottom left. And this allows you to either zoom in and get real tight on your image, or zoom out on your canvas and look at everything like that's wider out. If you're on a tablet or a phone, you would just use your fingers to zoom in and out. So just for a quick overview and walking around your canvas, we have the design panel on the left. We have the header bar at the top. You have the layers panel moving around to the right clockwise, your layers panel. You have your action panel down on the bottom, and then your zoom. So this is as you're learning design space and where things are located, it's all in a circle, from putting items onto your canvas, editing those items, doing the actions to the items, and zooming in and out on the items. Okay, so let's dive in and bring something onto a canvas. First, let's look at the images. So when you click on the images icon, it will take you into Cricut Access library of images. It doesn't always take you into this search window. Sometimes it just takes you into the window that has a lot of, like, where images show up, and then you can go into the search all images window. So that's where I'm starting off today. There are highlighted categories in the images, and the highlighted categories are the featured images. So like right now, you might find things for Father's Day. You may find things getting ready for summer, end of school year would be things that are in the featured section. Recently added, those are images that have been recently added to Cricut Access. Free this week are images that are free. You don't have to have a Cricut Access account to use them. They're free to use this week or however long they're in there. And then image sets. I always use the image sets when I'm looking for like commercial images, like Frozen or the Friends images are in there, image sets. But if you know what keywords you're looking for, you can use the search bar here to narrow down what image you're searching for. So I'm searching for a heart, and I want it to say love you. So I typed in the keywords love you heart, and a huge selection of images pop up. Now, I want to narrow that down a little bit so I don't have to scroll through a lot of images just to find the right one for me. So I use the filters on the left side here to sort of narrow down my search. Now, if you're on an iPad or some other tablet, you'll see a little icon up here in the upper right corner, and you click on that and you can that will pull down this filter box here. So as I start to filter my images, I might filter by the operation I'm doing on the images. Am I just cutting the image? Do I want to draw the image and then cut it? Do I want to do a print then cut? How am I going to use that image? So I select my operation type here. Then you can reduce your image selection down further by selecting the complexity of the image. If you just want a simple image to put on a mug, then you may just be looking for a simple image. If you want to cut out, a 10-layer deep different color image, you want something more complex. And then you have the different layers that are in an image. So these first two hearts here are a single image, whereas, a single layer, whereas this third one that says love you, this one will be at least 2 layers. So you can narrow it down that way. And then also you can pre-select what type of material you're using, and that will narrow your selection down further there. Now, how do you know if something is if you have Cricut Access, you do have access to the library of images from Cricut. It doesn't always cover the licensed images, for example, Frozen or any of the other Disney images. Those you pay for each image as you use it. But if it's part of Cricut Access, the A shows up right here, and I know that it's part of Cricut Access. If it's free this week, it will say free. if you're a Cricut Access member, you'll probably see subscribed here. Mine says granted because I was using a Cricut account to do these screenshots. But if you're a Cricut Access member, it will show up subscribed right here. And that means you have use of the image. So how long can you use that image? As long as you're a Cricut Access member, you can use that image for as long as you have your Cricut Access account. If you stop your Cricut Access account, you can't use the image as part of your Cricut Access, but you can purchase that single image. So one image might cost 99 cents. So you can purchase just that single image. Now I know when I selected an image to use because the green bounding box shows up around that image. And so that's how I know, okay, this is the image I want to use. If I'd like more information about the image, I can click on the eye icon down here at the bottom, and I get the information, the name of the image, and the image number. Now, if you're ever searching for an image by the number, make sure you put the hashtag in first, not just the letters and numbers. You always have to use the hashtag. Then you go to view image sets. If you want to look for more images that coordinate with this single image. So if you wanted to do a hoedown birthday party and you found the cutest little farmer that you wanted to use, but you needed more images to go across your theme, then you'd want to look at image sets because it takes you into a variety of images that coordinate with the image you've selected. So the Love You Heart is part of a Stay Golden set, and you've got lots of choices here of different images that coordinate with my image if I wanted to make more than one item or I wanted, multiple images on one project. So once you've selected your image and you've determined, is it part of Cricut Access? Is it a pay-as-you-go type of thing? Is it free? It shows up in your queue down here at the bottom, and then you just click Insert Image and it puts it on your canvas. Now, once you have an image on your canvas or a layer on your canvas, your edit bar starts to light up and show up that you can use the edit bar. You also have the options of quick edit features on the image. So if you've selected your image, you know it because you have the 4 icons around your image, which do 4 different things. So the X deletes the image and it removes it from your canvas. The backward C will rotate your canvas, crooked 90 degrees, however you want to rotate your image. This little arrow in the bottom will enlarge or reduce the size of your image. When this other icon here is locked, the image proportion is the same. So when I move this, if I were to take this particular image and I wanted to change the size of this image, the proportion is locked. So it will, as I change the width, the height will change as well. If I just want to make this a longer image or a wider image, I just need to click the key here, the lock icon, and that unlocks the proportion. So I can just change the image by the width of the image or the height of the image. So those are all quick edit tools you have right here. Once your image is the size you want, the color you want, you're ready to make it, you just click the big green button here, Make It, and it goes to your prep screen. And this is where you make sure, is it, the color, if that matters to you, that it's the color you want it to be. So you're going to cut this one out of red vinyl, and it's the red one because it's turned red. And how many projects you want to make, you can change the project's number up here, and then you're ready to go. Once you send it to your cutter, you select which machine you're using, you select your material, you make sure you have the right tools in your machine. So like if this were to be a draw and cut item, it would tell me to put a pen in clamp A, or if I were scoring, it would tell me to put the score blade in clamp A, and then the fine point blade here. And once my light lights up on my machine, I feed my material in, and then it starts to cut. So when you break it down like that, it's not so complicated. But actually doing it might just be a roadblock for you. So Lindsay, before we dive in, actually, before I turn over to you, if you are going to work along with me, please go ahead and open up your Design Space software, because there was an update for me this morning. And I just want to make sure everybody has a chance to update their software if you're working along with me. So this is a good moment to go ahead and do that. Are there any questions, Lindsay, that I can help answer before I move on?
Nope. I know that there were some questions about Design Space and the Access subscription. If those didn't get answered, if they were very specific questions, if you go to learn.cricut.com, there is a wealth of information there. Apologize that due to the size and timing of this class, we're not able to answer everything specifically, but learn.cricut.com and michaels.com, and Michael's YouTube channel has a wealth of information.
They do. All right. So we will do that. So yeah, check that out. And if there's, keep it coming. We're just going to keep moving along. So before I go over to Design Space, we're going to share our screen. Why doesn't everybody grab, if you're going to be crafting with me, if you'll grab your, what we call a blank. So this is what I'm going to be using today. I have my cup, these color changing cups. And if you have not checked these out, I'm addicted to these. Like, I now have a different color cup for every mood. So grab whatever your blank is. If you're using a mug, or, you have like a glass, or if you're using a journal, grab that and let's get a measurement. So I like to see everybody's what they're making. When I'm using a cup, I hold my cup like I would if I were, at the beach, and I'll measure between my thumb and my finger to see how wide my design should be. So go ahead and grab, I keep a tape measure handy. And if you're using one of these, or if you're using the, let me grab my other tumbler. If you're using this type of tumbler, you can do the same thing. So I take my tape measure, and it's about 4 inches wide. So I know my design, I want it to be about 4 inches wide. And there's no right or wrong way to measure on your mug. It's totally up to you. Some people may like it to be smaller. Some may like it to be wider. On my tumbler, I can go as far as like 4 1/4 or 4 1/2 on this tumbler, depending on what you're doing. So just take your tape measure or a piece of paper and get your measurement between your thumb and your forefinger. So mine today will be 4 inches, but I'm using this one today. Okay, so now we have our measurement. Let's go ahead and go into Design Space. So I'll share my screen and my Cricut right here. All right, so I'm going to go back to my canvas. It's telling me to and can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just got a message that said Zoom quit. So I'll just turn that off. Okay, so now I'm on my home screen, and I'm ready to create a new project. So I'm going to go ahead up on the right-hand corner and click New Project. And here's my canvas. So you should all be with me. If you're crafting along with me, you should be on the canvas. One quick little trick. I love this trick. If you're not a fan of the grid lines here and you'd rather just work on a blank canvas, if you go to the square between the two zeros and you click on that square, your grid goes away. So if you want to try that out with me, if you click on the square between the two zeros, you can change your grid. I was always going back and forth into my settings to change my grid, but then I figured this out. I don't even know. I think I saw somebody else do it. I was like, that is brilliant. So that's a little trick today. All right. So let's go ahead and go into images. And we are going to search for an image to use today. Now, this is, I was looking earlier to make sure my images were still in free this week. And there are a ton of images in free this week. Let's go to the search all images and go ahead and type in fun sun, because we're getting ready for spring, summer vacation and everything. Let's do something summery. So fun and sun, it's right here. And this is a free image. So everybody should be able to grab this image and use fun and sun. If you don't see the image coming up, in the search bar, type in hashtag M3EF3F and it should pop up. So you want to type in hashtag M3EF3F and that will pop up. But you see how many other adorably cute summer images there are to use. You just can't go wrong and you can't not have something fun. I love that little smiley face. He's cute. So let's pick this first one, fun and sun. And you can image, sorry, I didn't mean to click on that. Okay, let's click on it. Make sure it has the green line around it. So I know I've selected that one. It's in my tray down here and I'm ready to insert the image. So I insert the image onto my canvas and it comes in at 1 inch by 0.779 inches. It's kind of small. I want to make it bigger. Now, when I move something around, if I say when I say to click on something, use the left button on your mouse to click. There's very few times that I'll use the right button. So it's mostly when I say click on it and move it, it's the left button I'm talking about on your mouse. So to move it around your canvas or to select it on your canvas, you touch the left button on your mouse and you can move your image around. That I always like to pull it into the center so you guys can see what I do. So I know I want to change my width because I can make it 4 inches wide and I can unlock my proportion here and I can adjust it here on my own with the drag and drop, or you can go up to the edit bar and I can change my width to 4 inches and type enter. And then it should change. Oh, I have the proportion unlocked. So let me do that again. Let me undo that. And the great thing, I have to tell you guys, the best thing about Cricut, and Design Space, the undo is so forgiving. If you ever feel like, oh my goodness, I just messed up my design, I didn't want to do that, up in the left-hand corner here is the back button and you can undo whatever you just did. And I have not been able to hit the max of how many times I can undo, and I've tried. So it's very forgiving. That's what I mean when I say that. Okay, so let me come back here. I do not want to change the proportion. If you unlock it and change the proportion of the image, I can make it wider or I can make it taller, but I can stretch it out like this if I wanted to, or I can make it really long if I wanted to and try and get it back to the same proportion it was before. For this example, I don't want to do that today. I just want to take the original image and make it 4.5 inches wide. So I'm going to keep the proportion locked and I will change my width to 4.5 inches. And there we go. So my image is now 4.5 inches and I'm ready to send it to my maker. That's all I have to do. and I can say make it, and it goes to my prepare screen, which is right here. Now I'm using adhesive vinyl. The shimmer, I'm going to use the blue shimmer adhesive vinyl. So I have my color is the right color. If you wanted to change your color just because that made you feel more comfortable, let me show you how to do that. So if you were doing like the orange cup or an orange or a metallic tumbler and you wanted orange, you just would go up to the edit bar. You would click on the colored square and you would change your color just like that. And then when I send it to the prepare screen, it would show up and remind me, put your orange vinyl down because you're cutting it out of orange. Okay, let me go back and just show you. I think I'm doing okay on time. So I'm going to show you if I were to do, let's say if I wanted to cut this out twice, I would duplicate the layer. So I've got the layer selected. In my layers panel, I would select duplicate. I would duplicate it out like this. And let's say I wanted to do one orange and one blue. I would do that. I would turn the color blue. So I went back up to the edit bar. I selected the little color box and I changed it to blue. And then I say make it. And now I have an orange mat to remind me, put your orange vinyl down. And I have a blue mat, put your blue vinyl down. Now, as you're getting started with Cricut and your machine, you're thinking, okay, I'll put my orange down, I'll send my orange to the mat, then I'll come back and I'll put my blue down and I'll send my blue through. You can actually move the vinyl from being on two separate canvases to being on the same canvas. And to do that, you click the three little buttons here, say move object, and you select the other mat to move it to. Now, as long as you're using the same type of material, so if I were to use blue shimmer vinyl and orange vinyl, it would be absolutely fine that I'm cutting these on the same canvas. But if I were using blue shimmer vinyl and orange permanent vinyl, I would want to cut them on separate canvases because they're different materials and the machine cuts them with different settings. So does that make sense? If you're cutting the same material, you can cut them in one pass, no matter how many different images you have. If you're cutting different materials, you want to put them on two different mats. So one mat would get the permanent vinyl treatment and the other mat would get the shimmer vinyl treatment. Okay? All right, so let's continue. So if you're with me, you have one image on your mat and you're ready to go. And I'm going to actually keep this second image on my mat to show you how I cut two different colors on one mat. So I've got my size, it's 4.5 inches. I've got my mat is ready to go. I just need to select the device I'm using. And oops, my machine's not turned on. There we go. So let me turn my machine on. You hear it warming up. Now I do have the Explore Air, so I'll be using the dial and it was set to vinyl. But if I change that, I need to, and if you're on a maker, or even the Cricut Joy, you browse your materials. If you notice, I have some of my favorite materials already pre-selected, and these always show up for me. To add a material that you're cutting with, we're going to use vinyl today. So I'm going to search for vinyl materials. And you see the ones that I favorited have this gold star next to them. And the other ones have a shadow star, an outline of a star. If you click on that star, it becomes one of your favorite materials and it will show up. So you won't have to find it each time you use it. So I'll be using my very favorite shimmer vinyl. I cannot get enough of this. All right. And I use the default pressure. I find 98% of the times my machine cuts properly with the machine settings. If you ever feel like you need to add a little more pressure or less pressure, this is where you can adjust that. And honestly, 98% of the time, it's usually when I'm doing something weird, trying to get something unique to work, that I change this. But if I'm just using a Cricut material, I use the Cricut settings, and 98% of the time it cuts properly, just the way you'd want it to. So here's the load tools. It tells me I don't need anything in clamp A. I need the fine point in clamp B, and I'm ready to load my mat. So when I'm ready, I go ahead and I load in my mat, and we are going to go switch to the overhead camera, and we're going to load in our mat. Okay, let me go back here real quick. Okay. All right, so I have my mat here.
Kesley, we can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Sorry, I moved my microphone. Can you hear me now?
No worries.
Okay.
It's all good now. Yeah.
Okay. So, so I'm using the permanent glitter shimmer vinyl with the strong grip transfer tape. The shimmer vinyl has a texture to it. And so when you're using a textured vinyl, you want to use a transfer tape specifically for that type of vinyl. And then other types of vinyl that are available are the glossy permanent vinyl and removable vinyl. So when do you use the different types of vinyl? I use permanent vinyl when I want something to be there forever and to really stick and not come off. So when I'm making a mug or something like that, I use the permanent vinyl so it can be hand washed and it's going to stay there. If I'm doing something home decorish, or like I paint my back door every season and I put a little cute saying on the back door, that's when I use the removable vinyl, because I know in 3 months I'm going to peel that off and I want to put something else on there. So I use the removable vinyl so I don't ruin every single nail I have. And then with the regular vinyls, like permanent vinyl, removable vinyl, I just use the standard transfer tape on that. Okay, so let's get our vinyl cut out. I'm using the shimmer vinyl to start with, and my image is 4.5 inches. So I just need a piece of vinyl that is, I cut it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to cut it 5 inches, and I'm using my paper trimmer. But if you don't have a paper trimmer handy, you don't have to worry about it, because the Cricut material has the grid on the back, so you can actually cut straight lines right on the vinyl and not, worry about having it permanent. I mean, having it crooked or not crooked. You get straight lines even when you're using your scissors to trim with. And I just cut that crooked. Okay, and so this is the 12-inch trimmer. It's got that cute little arm that bumps out, so it helps you get everything lined up properly. Okay, I'm going to turn my mat this way. Now, the great thing is I need to grab one more piece. Hold on one second. Okay, so so I have my mat here, and like I said, oops, that's cut out. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Here's a green piece. Like I said, I'm going to show you how to put 2 different pieces of the same type of vinyl on your mat so that it will cut it twice. So when you line up your material on your mat, you line it up according to the corner here. So you go across your mat and then down your mat. So you're going to go across and down like that. So that's my first piece. And then I have the second piece. I'm just going to trim that down, and I'll put that on my mat as well. Now, these are both the shimmer vinyl. So my settings on my machine will be the same. If I were using the glossy vinyl, I would not cut this at the same time. I would cut the pink one, change my settings, and then cut the green one and go from there. Okay, now I am using my light grip mat here. You could use your standard mat too with your vinyl. The light grip is great. Also, if you do a lot with cardstock or paper or vellum, that's when you want to use the light grip. And then your standard grip is, again, with your iron-on, your vinyl, with other bonded fabrics types of material. And then you have a fabric mat, which is great for using with fabric. And you have a strong grip mat, which is if you have a maker, you'll use that when you're doing something with like leather, for example. Now, I keep my mat covered for the most part, so the dust particles don't get on it. If I find my mat gets dirty, I take a baby wipe and I just wipe it down, and the stick is there. It comes like if it's a little damp, you clean it off, and then the stick comes back, and so you're good to go. I think that's everything about the mats. All right, so my load light is on, and I'm going to load my mat under the wheels here and line it up with these wheels here. You don't need to push it in or anything like that. I'm just giving it a little support. And I click on the load screen there. And then I click the Cricut icon here, the cut icon, and it will start to cut. And while that's cutting, I will go ahead and pull out my strong grip transfer tape and make sure I've got that cut up. And Lindsay, while that's cutting and I'm reaching, are there any questions I might be able to answer for anybody?
Yeah, there was a really good question about where do you know where to place, if you're cutting two different vinyl colors, where do you know to place the other vinyl color on your mat?
That is a great question. I am a longtime scrapbooker. So I love that this is 12 inches because that's a measurement size I'm super familiar with. So I take advantage of the 6 by 6 space when I space things out on my vinyl. So like my second one, I lined up on the 6-inch grid line here. If I were to do 4 pieces, I would have one here, one starting at the 6-inch up there. I would do a 6-inch here and a 6-inch here. So that's how I would place the 4 different pieces. That is a great question.
Yeah, and then along those lines, how do you move the placement? Because Cricut automatically optimizes how you cut, but like if you wanted to move something over a little bit, how would you do that?
Great question. So on the prepare screen, before you send it to the cutter, you can move your image around. So you just, again, left click on it and you can move it around on your screen. Now I can see it's done cutting and I can see my cut lines. If I couldn't see my cut lines, I could, before I unload my mat, I could touch the C button and it would cut it again. And so if you needed to recut it, you could just click the C button and it would cut it again. So I'm ready to unload it. And I'm unloading it from the machine. I turn my mat over and you're going to remove the vinyl from the mat. So you just hold the vinyl down and you roll the mat off of it like that. And that's a really good trick to have, especially if you're doing things with paper, because paper will curl if you peel the paper off of the mat. So you always want to think, remove the mat from the vinyl. Okay, now let me bring up my little tray here so I can get closer to you all. And we just are going to start weeding. Now what weeding is removing the pieces of the design you don't want to keep. So I'm going to be removing the outside vinyl here. And you can see how easily, this is why I love the shimmer. It just weeds so nicely. And I use the Design Space settings to trim this out. So this just peels right off. Sometimes if you're doing a big piece, I will trim my vinyl smaller or trim it as it comes off. So I'm not dealing with a big chunk of vinyl that I worry about folding back on itself. I'll just trim that with scissors as I go along. But this one weeds out so nicely, just using my weeding tool. And away I go like that. So there is my design ready to go. How about that? So if you're designing along with me, you might be at this stage. You may still be putting your vinyl down on your machine. Don't worry. Again, this is all recorded. So at any time you're able to go back and watch it and craft with me and pause it, all those good things. Okay. So now I'm just I've got a piece of my strong grip transfer tape here. And usually it peels off pretty easily. I may have used this one before. A little bit of trouble with it. So just to keep things moving, I'm going to grab another piece here. If I couldn't, oh, look at that. This one is one I've tried to get before. Here we go. If I had trouble with getting it off of my, removing it from my transfer tape, I would think about like just trimming the edge down a little bit and working from there. So let's just get this cut smaller so I don't have so much transfer tape. See my scissors, and I can cut pretty much a really nice straight line right along there. And we're just going to peel this off. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can put your transfer tape down on your vinyl. You can, on top of your vinyl, you can do a hinge method where you put it on the corner here and then hinge it down. Or you can do a taco method where you hold it in half like this and you start it, line it up on the top and kind of start it in the center and let it roll down to each side like that. So whatever method works for you, try a couple different methods. And I do think it takes practice and it takes experience to get the right touch. I know that sounds silly, but I was working on doing some stickers, print and cut stickers, and I was having a really hard time getting a piece of sticker paper on top, the clear, I want a piece of clear sticker paper on top of it. And I just took me time, a couple tries to get it and get comfortable with it. So be patient with yourself. It does get easier, I promise you. It's like any craft. Once you do it a couple times, it gets easier. So now to remove my vinyl from my backing paper, I turn it over and I hold the transfer tape down. I use my wedge and I hold and put pressure on the edge of the transfer tape. Like right here, I'm putting pressure on the edge. And as I roll back, I'll put pressure down and that will help to rub the vinyl onto the transfer tape. So now see how smoothly that works and it comes off. Now you notice over here, can you see that little piece? It's not coming up. So I just put my paper back down, I re-wedge over it, and then I will start rocking my backing off of it, off the transfer tape. Still not coming off there. So I'll just work around at a different, until I can get to a different angle at that spot, and off it comes. Sometimes you may want to grab like your weeding tool and hold down the vinyl, especially if it's a little piece, if it's not behaving properly. But there we go. So now I'm going to grab my cup and I will do this. This is great if you have summer plans and you're meeting a bunch of different people, or you're doing like a bachelorette weekend or a family trip. Now that we can hopefully start getting back together with family members, this is a fun little project you can have made for everybody. Now I'm just using my lint roller, which I use to put my weeding things on, and I'll use my wedge to hold my mug in place or my cup in place. You can also use face cloths on the edge or anything like that to hold it in place. Okay, let me get this out of the way. All right, so now I'm ready to take my Fun and Sun and put it on my mug. Now, again, you can do the taco method where you hold it like this and you put down the center of it. You can use your lines and line it up with your mug if you want. If you're a beginner, don't be shy about going crooked, because then you don't have to worry about it being straight. But if straight is super important to you, use your grid lines to line it up on your mug. So I'm just going to line it up right there, and I'm going to put it down. Now, if you're doing something that is tapered, like this mug is, or this cup is tapered, you may, depending on how big your image is and how it's tapered, you can cut your transfer tape so it will curve on the design. And there we go. Now you just peel your transfer tape off your design and you're ready to go. Fun and sun. And you may want to come back and make some yellow suns to put on your design or something like that, or flowers or anything like that, and just add those to your cup. I put my transfer tape back on my paper so that I can use it again. And as long as your transfer tape, I lost my backing, as long as your transfer tape has stick on it, you can reuse it. So as long as it sticks and picks up what you're putting down, you can just reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. You don't have to use a new piece every time. All right. So there was fun in the sun. Here's another one. I think this may still be a free image too. Let Your Dreams Bloom is a cute one. And then I've got one more. I'll grab it. I know this is a free design right now in Design Space. It says teacher mode off. So if you need a good gift for a teacher gift, I love this one. It'd be super fun. All right. So Lindsay, do we have any lingering questions that I can answer?
Yes, we have some really great questions about the difference between permanent vinyl, removable vinyl, and iron-on.
Excellent questions. So permanent, do people just want to know the difference?
Yep, and then just how to load them onto the mat as well.
Okay. So iron-on vinyl so you know how we used the transfer tape to pick up our design. Now, if you're doing a design like the Fun and Sun design, you don't have to use transfer tape because it's all one image and you can pick it up and put it down like a sticker. But if you're doing an image that has more pieces to it, you definitely want to use your transfer tape. So like something like this, dad joke uploading, you would not want to have to pick up each piece and try and line it back down. So that's when I use my transfer tape. Now, when you're doing iron-on, the transfer tape is actually on the front of the iron-on, and the adhesive is on the back of the iron-on. So iron-on, you don't have a carrier sheet because the adhesive doesn't activate until you heat it up. Now, when you cut a vinyl, like a permanent vinyl like this one, when I put it on my mat and I cut it, it cuts the front of my design. When you use iron-on vinyl, you put the front of your design down first, and it actually cuts the back of the design. When you're using iron-on, you need to mirror your image because it's cutting out the back of the design. And when you put it on your project, you put it on with the front of your design up, the adhesive side down, and then when you heat press it, the adhesive holds, and then you peel off the transfer sheet, which is clear. So this is my iron-on vinyl. This is the transfer sheet here. Hard to see. I don't know if you can see that, but that's clear. So the difference between iron-on vinyl and regular vinyl, adhesive vinyl, is this already has the adhesive on the back. It's already part of it. It's there. It's got the stick on it, and it doesn't need anything to make it sticky. Iron-on vinyl, you need to use heat to heat up that glue, the adhesive, to make it go down. So the transfer tape on iron-on vinyl is already on there. It's clear. It's a clear coating here. We need to add transfer tape to the permanent vinyl or the removable vinyl. And again, all the packaging for Cricut will say if vinyl is permanent or removable. And permanent, it really, you know, it could take a little while to stick down, and by a little while, I mean like a couple hours. So when you first put it down, I have moved it around like I do it on journals, and I've been able to pull it back up and reposition my design. But after like a day, it's there and it's not coming up. So that's the difference between iron-on and the different types of vinyl. These are, think of these as adhesive vinyl. The adhesive is already on there. You don't need to do anything to make it stick. If you're doing a t-shirt or any type of fabric, even you can use iron-on wood. But on plastic and things like that, I would use this adhesive vinyl. T-shirts, clothing, something you want to wash in the washing machine, I would use the iron-on vinyl. I hope that clears that up, because that's a good question. And the next thing you want to make, like once you really get good with your vinyls, then you're going to start exploring the other materials like the iron-on and the infusible ink, which is really good.
All right, well, thank you so much, Kesley. This was such a great class. I know that there are lots of comments about everyone has learned so much. I know myself included. A friendly reminder that this will be available on Michael's YouTube channel in 24 to 48 hours. So if you want to go back and watch something at your own pace, great option to do that. And we do have more classes available. I put the link in the chat many times, but michaels.com/classes, they will all be on there.
Can we have a second and
Yeah.
let everybody hold up their project if they finished it? Oh, I see. Alicia put it on a journal, on a notebook or something, a planner, white and blue. How pretty. Oh, look. Antonia, is that, oh, cute. Is that paper? Like it. Oh, look at, I know that's not Richard up there, but I like your fun and sun. You guys did a great job. I love seeing it. And also feel free, we do have an Instagram hashtag. Oh, I like that gold glitter candy. Beautiful. We have the Cricut with Michaels hashtag. So as you finish your project, please put it up there. You can reach out to us if you have any questions there too. I do try and check it and comment and just tell you how proud I am that you're making things. And it's a great way to reach out to us if you have lingering questions that we can answer. But thank you guys. Really appreciate you spending your day with us. I hope you learned a lot.